of the world. Oh, my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil. Learn Yahweh's ways. Torah Life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries, and it's time for this coming week's Torah Parashah reading. And we are up to reading number 51, which is Deuteronomy 29:9 to 30:20. So we're almost done with the book of Deuteronomy, and we're going to start all over again with the Torah cycle in the upcoming new year that's coming up very shortly. But this is Deuteronomy 29 to 30:20. And the first thing I want to discuss this week is what it says here in the scriptures in Deuteronomy 29. It says, let there be not among you a man, woman, family, or tribe whose heart turns away from Yahweh or Elohim to serve the gods of other nations. Well, basically, here is Moses telling the people when they go into the land not to let anyone among us, family members, close family members especially, turn away and look to the gods of the other nations. And there's something in today's world called the New Age movement. And basically at the forefront of the New Age movement is other gods. Everything we're warned to do against. We take example for Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is so many people look up to her today as a god herself. But she's worshiping the universe and the New Age kind of atmosphere and other gods as well. But we're warned against that, folks. And, you know, I teach about health and I teach about healing. And when we continuously live against, think against, act against what our Creator warned us not to do, we're going to suffer on one level or another, and possibly all levels. You know, if we're sick, if we have a disease, there's a reason. We might not know it, but when we realize how far we've gotten away from the warnings that our Creator wanted us not to go after, we see where some of the issue lies. It talks about the following other gods is a bitter poison. You know, like the root that gets poisoned, anything that grows from it or is around it can be destroyed as well. We have to do our diligence, and we have to make sure about that. So it goes on there, and it says, if there is such a person, when he hears the words of this curse, he will bless himself secretly, saying to himself, I will be all right, even though I will stubbornly keep doing whatever I feel like doing. And he keeps living in sin. It says, but Yahweh will not forget him. Rather, the anger and jealousy of Yahweh will blaze up against that person. Every curse that is written in this book will come upon him. So basically, they're talking about the person that is worshiping and honoring other gods that Yahweh told us not to, but the person doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. I have a lot of friends out there that say they're not doing anything wrong, and in their own minds, they're good people. But what are they using to determine that? They're using to determine their own personal feelings. Well, this is why we have so many problems in today's world, is because everyone might have a different feeling, but in their own feeling, they think they're doing good or they think they're doing okay. For example, you take some people that sleep around, and they're single people and they sleep around, and they say, well, I'm not hurting anyone. They have these open relationships, and they're doing everything in the open and not hiding anything. So since they're not hiding anything, they say, well, I'm honest and I'm not hurting anyone. But the scriptures say immorality is an abomination. So you are causing a problem to yourself. And this is what we're warned against. And you're causing problems for others as well. So we must do diligence. Remember, this is about the chosen people of Israel, the believers, who were showed a promised land, who were showed a better way. And do you know what? We're all showed a better way. We're all showed a better land. And we're all about to step forward into that land. And we have our warning set forth to us of how we should act and what we should do so we don't lose our blessings and the curses of this book do not come upon us. The choice is ours, folks. What are we going to decide to do? Well, it says in the scriptures, today I give before you life and death. Choose life so you may live. But the people looked and they answered not a word. Who shall you serve? The people didn't know. And today, because of the worldly pleasures of this world and because of our evil desires, what do? We run after the things of the world, and we strand it and go away from Yahweh. And it says here, if you want to follow the gods and the ways of these other lands, their sickness and their diseases of these other lands will come upon you. Well, when Yahweh said, if you keep all my instructions, statutes, and commands, I will not put the same disease upon you as I did the Egyptians. Well, even more so when you go into that promised land. And folks, no matter where you are, no matter who you think you are, there's always a promised land for us. No matter how much we've accomplished, no matter how much we think we know Yahweh, no matter how great our relationships are, there's always more, there's always better. And we have to go to the extreme to continue to try and do it with a joy and a passion because we're doing it for Him ultimately. There's a question that says, people will ask, why did Yahweh do this to the land, as it says in this week's reading? And it says, it's because they abandoned the covenant Yahweh made with their fathers. So this isn't something new. The Bible, the Torah didn't just come out yesterday. It's been in existence for thousands of years, this text. But because the people abandoned Yahweh's instructions, guidelines, warnings, His statutes, His commands, this is why these things happened. And Yahweh allowed them to happen. And it's no different today, folks. There's a lot of people out there that call themselves believers and they go to a church, but they're not living a life according to the scriptures. They're living against what He warned us not to do, and this is why we run into problem. It says here in Deuteronomy 29:29, things which are hidden belong to Yahweh our Creator, but the things that have been revealed belong to us and our children forever, so that we can observe the words of this Torah. So there are a lot of things out there that has not been revealed to us yet, and on our time they will be. But what about the things that have been observed? The guidelines and instructions of our Creator. Many Christians out there think the word Torah means law. No, it means guidelines and instructions. And in the Bible, the guidelines and instructions have been revealed to us of what we are to do. We saw in the first 5 books over and over again, Moses giving a warning of what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And we saw time after time again, the people, they turned their back on Yahweh. They stopped listening. And every time they stopped listening, tragedy came upon them. And when they started obeying again, blessings came upon them. And that's the warning, and that's exactly what He says what would happen. We have all these great things revealed to them, to us, to our children. All of these things are observed, but it says, so that we can observe the words of this Torah. They've been revealed to us so we can keep them. They haven't been revealed to us for no other reason but for us to keep them. It says, with all your heart and all your being. And when you do that, Yahweh will show you mercy. So you do that, and Yahweh will show you mercy. Praise Yahweh and praise Yeshua Messiah. The mercy He gives us to take away our sinful nature and make it even easier. We have to understand, folks, that grace that Messiah brings, is not an excuse to keep living in sin like some people believe. No. It should give us a desire and a passion even more to follow His guidelines and instructions, because He has showed us a better way. He's given us Yeshua Messiah as our promised land. He is what we are going to when we accept Yeshua as our Messiah and we keep the covenant that He told us to keep. But we have the choice. There are the New Ages out there in the world that live off their own feelings and go by everything they think is best for themselves, but they might not necessarily go with what Torah says. But then we got the so-called believers out there, the Christians of the world, that try or think they're going by what the book says, but when you really look into it, those New Ages are going more according to the book than they are, because they're so opposite, or they're just as equal. That's why they're getting the same diseases. I don't love to bring a message that's so hard and straightforward, folks, but this is what we need. This is the bottom line. As it says in the scriptures in Ezekiel 33:11, I take no pleasure in the death of wicked people. I only want them to change from their wicked ways so they can live. So they can live. So you can live. And it says here, it goes on to give us these warnings. It says, but if you will return and pay attention to what Yahweh says and obey His commands that He's given us, then He will bless us in every way, in everything we set out to do. Do you want to be blessed in everything you set out to do? Blessed according to Yahweh, not according to the world's ways? Well, just observe the commands and keep them with a passion. And then the warning again, remember it says it's been revealed to us. It says, however, this will only happen if you pay attention to what Yahweh says. But then it says, obey his commands and regulations which are written in the book of the Torah. The first 5 books of your Bible. If you're a Christian out there watching this, don't tell me you're not Jewish so you don't know what the Torah is. Open up the first 5 books in your Bible, starting with Genesis, ending in Deuteronomy, and see what the 5 books have to say about how we should be living and what we're commanded to do to keep, just like Yeshua Messiah and all of the disciples did. They kept Torah. But here's the difference. They kept Torah because they were pleased and they wanted to please and obey our Creator. They didn't do it for salvation. Past, present, and future salvation only comes, and that's through the blood of Messiah. That's how we get saved. However, if we're truly saved, we should have a desire to do the work that he tells us to do. You know, the church will tell you a lot of things that people that don't read the Bible, the biblical literacy, they just don't understand. And they say, well, in the old covenant that people had to do works to be saved, and now we don't need to do works because we're saved by Messiah. No, that's the farthest thing from the truth. Past, present, and future, never, ever, ever did this book say you could be saved by works. You're saved by faith. Faith in Messiah, and that's how you're saved. Well, whether if it was a custom of those times to have some sacrificial sacrifices for their custom and their culture at that time, that's something completely different. That's the works they did at that time that they were commanded to do because there was a temple to show their faith, not to be saved. Well, today we have things we are to do to show our faith, and they've never been done away with. That's keeping the guidelines and the instructions known as Torah. Most people don't even know what the 10 Commandments are. Forget about all of the commandments. The appointed days, the appointed feast days, keeping the holy days instead of the holidays. You know what? It's not about a feel-good message you see some preacher on TV saying, oh, feel good and you can get all this money and everything else. It's about Yahweh has a will and a desire for us, and he tells us what it is. It's been revealed to us to keep his Torah. If you're a parent out there and you have children and you learn through the hard way, through your mistakes, the right thing to do, you tell them what not to do and what to do. And they please you when they listen. And they worry you when they don't listen. And if they go listening to somebody else, you can get jealous quite easy. You know, it says Yahweh's jealous. He's a jealous Elohim. So it goes on to say, with encouragement, it says here in the scriptures, in Deuteronomy 30, it says, Deuteronomy 30:14, if your heart's in it, you can do it. You can do it. The scriptures say, my command shall not be burdensome. You can do it. We just need to be in one with Messiah, and we can make it happen. Let me read this here. It says in Deuteronomy 30, starting in Deuteronomy 30:15, it says, look, I am presenting you today with, on the one hand, life and good, and on the other hand, death and evil. Which one do you want, folks? Do you want life and good, or do you want death and evil? He's presented us with the choice. It says, in that I am ordering you today to love Yahweh your Elohim and follow his ways and obey his commands, regulations, and rulings. For if you do, you will live and increase your numbers, and Yahweh will bless you in the land you are entering. But if your heart turns away and refuses to listen to him, I am announcing to you today that you will certainly perish. You will not live long in the land you are crossing. I call on the heavens and the earth to witness against you today that I have presented you with life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, so you may live. I have a lot more to say, but I'm going to end it on that because it can't be more clear than that. He's given us a new life. We need to be born again. And if you're born again and you don't know what I just said, you need to be born again, born again. And we need to understand that. The past is the past. The future is the future. He's presented with us and revealed to us blessings versus cursings, good versus evil, and life versus death. As he wants for us, choose life so you may live. Everybody, this is Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries. I'll be starting off the Torah portion next year, starting in Genesis, which is starting in a couple of weeks. We'll be starting all over in Genesis and going through the whole Torah, the first 5 books all over again. If you've missed any of the teachings, you could just go to TorahLife.tv and you could see all of our Torah teachings, our weekly Torah teachings, and also our Bible health videos as well. So check that out at TorahLife.tv. And if you want to see some more health videos, you can go to RawLifeHealthShow.com. Everybody have a great Shabbat coming up, and I pray that you're having a wonderful, healthy day. And until then, Shalom, Shalom.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways.